Jai-Ho Park wiped the grease from his hands and looked up at the night sky. Stars dotted the darkness above his small repair shop on the edge of Seoul. The city lights glowed in the distance, but out here, he could still see the stars clearly. "Tae-sung, time to close up," he called out to his younger brother. Tae-sung appeared from behind an old car. At 22, he was 4 years younger than Jai-Ho, but just as skilled with engines. "Just 5 more minutes. I almost fixed this fuel line." Jai-Ho smiled and shook his head. "Fine. 5 minutes, then we go home." He walked outside to enjoy the cool night air. Their shop sat alone on a country road, surrounded by fields. Their parents had left them the shop 5 years ago when they moved to the coast. The brothers had turned it into a good business. A strange light in the sky caught Jai-Ho's eye. It was too bright to be a star, too fast to be a plane. It moved in ways that made no sense, stopping suddenly, then zooming across the sky. "Tae-sung, come see this," Jai-Ho called, not taking his eyes off the light. No answer came. "Tae-sung." The light grew larger. It was coming closer. Jai-Ho felt his heart beat faster. Something was wrong. Very wrong. He ran back into the shop. "Tae-sung." The shop was empty. The car hood was still open. Tae-sung's tools lay scattered on the ground, as if dropped in a hurry. A bright beam of light shot through the windows, so bright that Jai-Ho had to cover his eyes. The whole building shook. Tools fell from shelves. Car parts rattled. The light was pulling at him, like a strong wind trying to lift him off his feet. Jai-Ho grabbed onto a heavy metal shelf. The light grew brighter. Through squinted eyes, he saw something impossible. The roof of the shop peeling back like the lid of a can. And there, floating up through the opening, was Tae-sung. His brother's body hung limp in the air, rising toward a massive dark shape that blocked out the stars. Tae-sung's eyes were closed, his face peaceful, as if sleeping. "Tae-sung!" Jai-Ho screamed. He let go of the shelf and tried to reach for his brother. The strange pull caught him, but only for a moment. Then it stopped suddenly, sending Jai-Ho crashing to the floor. Above, the dark shape moved. Jai-Ho caught glimpses of smooth metal, curves that shouldn't be possible, lights that pulsed like a heartbeat. Not a plane, not a helicopter. Something else. Something not made by human hands. As Tae-sung disappeared into the craft, something small and metallic fell from above. It landed with a clink near Jai-Ho's hand. He grabbed it quickly, a small object about the size of his palm, made of a metal he had never seen before. It was warm and seemed to hum slightly. The light faded. The pull stopped. The dark shape above moved silently away, picking up speed until it was just another light in the sky. Then it was gone. Jai-Ho stood in his broken shop, the roof torn open to the night sky. Rain would come in now. Wind would blow through. None of that mattered. "Tae-sung," he whispered, his voice breaking. He called the police. They came. They took notes. They looked at the damaged roof with confused eyes. "A windstorm," one officer said. "Your brother probably ran for shelter." "There was no storm," Jai-Ho said. "It took him. I saw it." The officers exchanged looks. One tapped his head when he thought Jai-Ho wasn't looking. "We'll file a missing persons report," they said. "He'll turn up." But Jai-Ho knew better. He held the strange metal object tightly in his pocket where the police couldn't see it. They would take it away. They would never believe him. That night, alone in the empty house he had shared with his brother, Jai-Ho placed the object on the kitchen table. It gleamed under the lights, covered in symbols he couldn't read. Proof that he wasn't crazy. Proof that something had taken Tae-sung. "I will find you," Jai-Ho promised the empty room. "Whatever took you, wherever you are, I will find you." Outside, the stars continued to shine, cold and distant. One of them, Jai-Ho now knew, wasn't a star at all. 3 days passed. No sign of Tae-sung. The police stopped taking Jai-ho's calls. Friends looked at him with pity in their eyes. No one believed his story about lights in the sky. Jai-ho sat in his grandfather's old room, surrounded by boxes. He hadn't been here since the old man died 2 years ago. The room smelled of dust and old paper. Jai-ho wasn't sure why he came here. Maybe he just needed to feel close to family. His grandfather had been a quiet man who rarely spoke of his past. He had worked for the military in the 1960s. That was all Jai-ho knew. "Help me, grandfather," Jai-ho whispered to the empty room. "I don't know what to do." He opened a box marked military. Inside were old photos, medals, and papers. Jai-ho picked up a small worn book with a black cover, his grandfather's journal. Jai-ho had never read it before. He opened it and began to turn the pages. Most entries were simple notes about daily life. But then, halfway through, the writing changed. It became rushed, excited. July 15, 1963. They'd brought it to the base today. I've never seen anything like it. Not from this world. The generals are calling it a weather balloon in public. We know better. Jai-ho sat up straight. His hand shook as he turned to the next page. August 3, 1963. Project Thunderbird has begun. We are studying the craft, the metal response to thought. Impossible technology. The next pages contain drawings, detailed sketches of a strange aircraft. It looked like a bird, but made of metal. Notes in the margins described parts that made no sense to Jai-ho, even though he was a good mechanic. December 10, 1963. First test flight today. Kim flew it for 3 minutes before losing control. The craft responds too quickly, like it has a mind of its own. Jai-ho turned page after page, reading faster now. His grandfather described a secret project to copy the alien technology. They built their own craft, the Thunderbird. But it was too powerful, too hard to control. March 28, 1964. Project shut down after Lee's crash. The generals are scared. I don't blame them. The Thunderbird is being stored at Site 12. Coordinates below. They're sealing it away forever. Maybe that's for the best. Below were numbers. Map coordinates. Jai-ho quickly entered them into his phone. They pointed to a location in the mountains, about 4 hours' drive from Seoul. At the back of the journal, Jai-ho found a small key taped to the cover. A handwritten note beside it read, "For my grandsons, if the visitors ever return." Jai-ho looked at the strange metal object from the night Tae-sung disappeared. The symbols on it seemed to shimmer in the dim light. Then he noticed something. One of the symbols matched a drawing in his grandfather's journal. His hands trembling, Jai-ho picked up the alien object and pressed the matching symbol. The object hummed louder. A small section slid open, revealing a compartment. Inside was a small crystal that glowed with a soft blue light. In the journal, his grandfather had drawn the same crystal. The caption read, "Power source. Beyond any technology we have." One crystal powered the Thunderbird for months. Jai-ho closed the journal and stood up. For the first time in 3 days, he felt something other than despair. He felt hope. The Thunderbird, a craft built with alien technology, hidden away for decades, waiting. He grabbed his jacket and car keys. The mountains were 4 hours away. If he left now, he could reach the site by morning. As he headed for the door, Jai-ho put both the journal and the alien object in his backpack. His grandfather had known this might happen someday. He had left this trail for Jai-ho to follow. "I'm coming, Tae-sung," Jai-ho said as he started his car. "I don't know how, but I'm going to find you." The night was dark as he drove toward the mountains. Somewhere up there was a piece of technology that might help him save his brother. The last Thunderbird. Dawn broke as Jai-ho's car climbed the narrow mountain road. Trees lined both sides, and mist hung in the air. According to his phone, he was close to the coordinates from his grandfather's journal. The road ended at an old gate. A faded sign read, "Military property. No entry." The fence was rusty, with holes in several places. No one had been here in years. Jai-Ho parked his car and grabbed his backpack. He found a gap in the fence and squeezed through. Beyond was a path overgrown with weeds. Jai-Ho followed it up the mountainside. After 20 minutes of climbing, he reached a flat area. Nothing was there except rocks and trees. Jai-Ho checked the coordinates again. This was the right place, but he saw no building, no doors, nothing. "What now, grandfather?" Jai-Ho muttered. He took out the journal and flipped through it again. Near the coordinates, his grandfather had drawn a small map. It showed a rock shaped like an arrow. Jai-Ho looked around and saw it, a large rock pointing toward a cliff face. Jai-Ho walked to the cliff. It looked solid, but when he pressed his hands against it, one section felt different, colder, smoother. Not rock at all, but metal painted to look like rock. He pushed harder. Nothing happened. Then he remembered the key from the journal. Jai-Ho took it out and looked for a keyhole. At first, he saw nothing. Then, at knee height, he spotted a small crack in the rock. The key fit perfectly. When Jai-Ho turned the key, a soft hum began. A door-sized section of the cliff slid open, revealing darkness beyond. Jai-Ho turned on his phone's flashlight and stepped inside. The door closed behind him with a solid thud. For a moment, panic gripped Jai-Ho. Then lights flickered on, weak but working. He stood in a long tunnel that sloped downward. Jai-Ho followed the tunnel until it opened into a large room. More lights came on, revealing what looked like an old military base. Dust covered everything. No one had been here in decades. The main room had desks with ancient computers and papers scattered across them. Signs on the walls read Project Thunderbird with an image of a bird-shaped aircraft. A large metal door stood at the far end of the room. Above it, in faded letters, Hangar. Jai-Ho tried the handle. Locked. He looked for another keyhole but found none. Instead, there was a small panel with a round depression in it. The crystal. Jai-Ho took out the alien object and pressed the symbol to open it. He removed the glowing blue crystal and placed it in the depression on the panel. The crystal pulsed once, twice, then glowed steadily. The hangar door unlocked with a loud click. Jai-Ho pushed it open and gasped. In the center of the hangar, under bright lights that had automatically turned on, sat the Thunderbird. It was beautiful, about the size of a small plane, but shaped like no aircraft Jai-Ho had ever seen. Its body curved like a bird in flight, with sweeping wings that ended in sharp points. The metal shimmered with a bluish tint. No seams were visible on its smooth surface. No rivets, no welds. It looked like it had grown rather than been built. Jai-Ho walked slowly around it. According to his grandfather's journal, this craft had been built using technology from an alien ship, the same aliens who had taken Taesung. Near the Thunderbird was a workbench with tools and parts. On the wall hung diagrams of the craft's interior. A manual sat on the bench, titled Thunderbird Operations Guide. Jai-Ho opened it. Pages of notes, many in his grandfather's handwriting, explained how the craft worked. It was powered by crystals like the one Jai-Ho had found. It could fly faster than any human aircraft. And strangest of all, it was controlled by the pilot's thoughts. Jai-Ho placed his hand on the Thunderbird's surface. The metal felt warm, alive. "Can you help me find my brother?" he whispered. The surface beneath his hand pulsed once, as if in answer. Jai-Ho set his backpack down and picked up the manual. He had work to do. The Thunderbird hadn't flown in 60 years. He needed to check every system, understand every control. His brother was out there somewhere. And now, Jai-Ho had a way to reach him. For 2 weeks, Jai-Ho worked on the Thunderbird. He slept on a cot in the hangar and ate food from an old vending machine that still worked somehow. His phone had no signal inside the mountain, but he didn't care. Nothing mattered except fixing the aircraft. The Thunderbird was in good shape despite sitting unused for decades. The alien metal didn't rust. Most systems still worked. Jai-Ho replaced old wires and checked every part against his grandfather's manual. The hardest part to understand was the control system. There was no steering wheel, no pedals, just a chair with strange metal bands that would wrap around the pilot's head. Neural interface, the manual called it. The craft would connect directly to the pilot's mind. On the 15th day, Jai-Ho decided it was time. He had done all he could. The Thunderbird was ready. Jai-Ho sat in the pilot's chair and pressed a button on the armrest. The metal bands rose up and gently circled his head. They felt cool against his skin. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a jolt shot through Jai-Ho's body. He gasped as his mind filled with new sensations. He could feel the Thunderbird as if it were part of his own body. Its wings were his arms, its engines, his muscles. Its sensors showed him everything around the craft. Jai-Ho thought about turning on the main power. Instantly, the Thunderbird hummed to life. Lights glowed across its surface. The hangar filled with a soft blue light. "Open hangar doors," Jai-Ho said aloud, though he didn't need to speak. The thought was enough. A section of the mountain wall slid open, revealing the sky beyond. Fresh air rushed in. Jai-Ho took a deep breath. "Here we go," he whispered. He thought about rising. The Thunderbird responded instantly, lifting off the ground. Too fast. Jai-Ho panicked, and the craft jerked to the side, nearly hitting a wall. "Slow down," he told himself. "Think calmly." Jai-Ho tried again, imagining a gentle rise. This time, the Thunderbird lifted smoothly. He guided it toward the open doors and out into the open sky. The sensation was amazing. Jai-Ho felt like he was flying with his own body, soaring through the air. He didn't need to check displays or instruments. He simply knew how fast he was going, how high he was, where the ground was. Jai-Ho thought about going faster. The Thunderbird shot forward, climbing higher into the sky. In seconds, he was above the clouds. The blue sky darkened above him. "How high can you go?" he wondered. As if in answer, information flowed into his mind. The Thunderbird could leave Earth's atmosphere. It could fly in space. Jai-Ho pushed higher. The sky turned dark. Stars appeared. Below him, Earth curved, a blue and white ball. He was in space. Jai-Ho laughed with joy and amazement. No human aircraft could do this so easily. Then something strange happened. The Thunderbird seemed to send him an image, a memory that wasn't his. He saw stars, different from Earth's. He saw planets he didn't recognize. And he saw ships, many ships, shaped like the one that had taken Tae-sung. The Thunderbird knew the aliens. It had been built to track them. Jai-Ho focused his thoughts. "Can you find them? Can you find the ship that took my brother?" A sensation of searching flowed through him. The Thunderbird's sensors scanned space around Earth. After a moment, it showed Jai-Ho an energy trail, barely visible, leading away from Earth toward the moon. The aliens had a base on the far side of the moon. The realization came partly from the Thunderbird's knowledge, partly from his own understanding. Jai-Ho considered flying there immediately, but decided against it. He wasn't ready. He needed to practice, to master the Thunderbird first. Reluctantly, Jai-Ho turned the craft back toward Earth. He would return to the hangar, study more, prepare himself. Tomorrow, he would try again. And soon, very soon, he would follow that energy trail to the moon. As the Thunderbird descended through the clouds, Jai-Ho felt more connected to the strange craft. It wasn't just a machine. It seemed alive in some way, sharing his desire to find the aliens, to find Tae-sung. "We'll find him," Jai-Ho promised. Together, the Thunderbird's lights pulsed in agreement. Jai-Ho returned to the hangar after his test flight, his mind buzzing with new knowledge. He now knew the Thunderbird better. He could fly it. He could reach space. He could find the aliens who took Tae-sung. As he landed the craft and guided it back into the mountain hangar, he noticed something wrong. The lights were on. Someone was here. Jai-Ho disconnected from the neural interface and stepped out of the Thunderbird. A woman stood by the workbench, looking through his grandfather's manual. She wore a black suit and had short hair. She didn't seem surprised to see him. "Hello, Jaiho Park," she said calmly. "My name is Hannah. We need to talk." Jaiho moved carefully toward the tool bench. "How did you find this place? How do you know my name?" Hannah closed the manual. "We've been watching this facility for years, and we've been watching you since your brother disappeared." "We? Who is we?" "I work for a small government team. We track unusual events, like alien abductions." Jaiho stared at her. "You know about the aliens, the ones who took Tai-sung?" Hannah nodded. "We call them the aliens. They've been taking people for decades, quietly, carefully. But we've never had proof good enough to convince the higher-ups to take action." She pointed at the Thunderbird. "Until now." Jaiho didn't trust her. "If you know about the aliens, why haven't you stopped them? Why didn't you help my brother?" Hannah's face showed sadness for the first time. "Because we can't reach them. We can't follow them. We have no technology that can match theirs." She looked at the Thunderbird. "But now you do." "I'm going to find my brother," Jaiho said firmly. "With or without your help." "You need my help," Hannah replied. "And I need yours." She took out a small device and placed it on the table. It projected a map of the moon. "We know they have a base here on the far side. We've detected strange energy readings, but we can't get close enough to see what they're doing." Jaiho thought about the energy trail he had seen. The Thunderbird can get there. It can track them. "That's what I'm counting on." Hannah walked closer to him. "I'm not your enemy, Jaiho. I want to stop the aliens too." Her voice softened. "My sister disappeared 8 years ago, just like your brother." Jaiho looked at her more carefully. Her eyes held the same pain he felt, the same determination. "How do I know I can trust you?" he asked. Hannah took out a folder and handed it to him. Inside were photos of strange craft in the sky, the same type that took Tai-sung. There were also documents about missing people, energy readings, and government reports marked top secret. "This is everything we know about the aliens," she said. "It's not much, but it might help you find your brother." Jaiho looked through the folder. One photo caught his eye. A blurry image of humans being led into an alien craft. One of them could be Tai-sung. "When was this taken?" he asked, his voice shaking. 3 days ago, near the North Pole. We think it's a collection point before they transport humans to the moon base." Jaiho made his decision. "I'm going to the moon tonight, with or without your help." Hannah smiled slightly. "I thought you might say that." She pointed to some boxes she had brought. "I brought supplies, food, water, and this." She handed him a small device. "It's a recorder. If you can get pictures of their base, of what they're doing with the humans they take, we can finally get the government to act." Jaiho took the device. "I don't care about convincing the government. I just want my brother back." "I know," Hannah said, "but we might need help to fight the aliens. And for that, we need proof." Jaiho nodded slowly. "Fine. I'll get your proof. But first, I find Tai-sung." Hannah held out her hand. "Deal." Jaiho shook it. He didn't fully trust this woman, but she knew things that could help him. And right now, he needed all the help he could get. "The Thunderbird needs about 3 hours to recharge," he said. "Then we go to the moon." Hannah raised an eyebrow. "We?" Jaiho gave her a hard look. "You want proof. You're coming with me." Night fell as the Thunderbird rose from the mountain hangar. Jaiho sat in the pilot's chair, the neural interface connecting him to the craft. Hannah sat behind him in a seat they had quickly installed. She looked nervous but determined. "Have you ever been to space?" Jaiho asked as they climbed through the clouds. "No," Hannah replied. "No human has gone this far into space without years of training. Not until now." The Thunderbird broke through the upper atmosphere. The sky turned black. Stars appeared all around them, bright and clear without Earth's air to dim them. Below, Earth curved in a blue and white arc. "It's beautiful," Hannah whispered. Jai-Ho felt the same wonder, but he focused on their mission. Through the Thunderbird sensors, he searched for the energy trail he had seen before. There it was, a faint line leading away from Earth toward the moon. "Hang on," he told Hannah. "We're going to the moon." The Thunderbird shot forward, faster than any human craft had ever moved. The moon grew quickly from a distant circle to a huge sphere filling their view. Jai-Ho guided the craft around to the far side, the side that never faces Earth. "There," Hannah pointed. "That crater. Our sensors detected energy signals from that area." Jai-Ho turned the Thunderbird toward the crater. As they got closer, he felt a warning from the craft. The aliens might detect them. He thought about hiding, and immediately the Thunderbird's surface changed. It bent light around them, making them invisible. "We're cloaked now," Jai-Ho explained. "They can't see us." They flew over the crater's edge, and both gasped. Below wasn't just a base, it was a city. Structures of metal and strange crystal spread across the crater floor. Lights moved between buildings. Ships came and went from landing pads. "The aliens have been here for years," Hannah said in shock. "Right next to Earth, all this time." Jai-Ho guided the Thunderbird lower, moving carefully between tall towers. The neural interface let him feel exactly where the craft was, making it easy to stay hidden. They passed a large building with clear walls. Inside, humans walked in lines, guided by tall, thin aliens. The aliens. They had gray skin and large black eyes. They moved with strange grace, like dancers. "They're processing humans," Hannah said, using the recorder to take pictures. "Look how many there are." Hundreds of humans moved through the building. They didn't look scared. They walked calmly, their faces empty, as if sleeping while awake. "They drugged them somehow," Jai-Ho said. "Keep them quiet." He searched the faces, hoping to see Tae-sung. But his brother wasn't there. They flew to another building. This one had humans in small rooms, being studied by the aliens. Tests of some kind. One human sat in a chair similar to the Thunderbird's pilot's seat, with a neural interface on his head. "They're testing humans with their technology," Hannah realized. "That's why they take us." Jai-Ho felt anger rising inside him. The aliens treated humans like lab animals. Test subjects. He moved the Thunderbird to another building, larger than the others. Inside was a huge hall with a line of ships being loaded with humans. Not the small craft that had taken Tae-sung, but massive transport ships. Where are they taking them? Jai-Ho wondered. The Thunderbird seemed to answer him, sending images to his mind. A distant star system. Many planets. The home of the aliens. Hannah checked a screen on her device. The last transport left 3 days ago. If Tae-sung was processed quickly, he might already be on his way to their homeworld. Jai-Ho's heart sank. He had hoped to find his brother here, to rescue him today. Now he knew the truth was worse. Tae-sung was being taken to another star system, impossibly far away. The Thunderbird sent another image to his mind. The energy trail from the transport ships. It was faint, but the Thunderbird could follow it. "Can this thing go that far?" Hannah asked when Jai-Ho told her his plan. "To another star." "I don't know," Jai-Ho admitted, "but I have to try." An alarm suddenly rang through the alien city. Lights flashed on buildings. Ships rose from landing pads. "They've detected us," Jai-Ho said, even though they were still cloaked. Hannah looked at her device. "No, they detected something else. Something big is coming." Jai-Ho turned the Thunderbird upward. "We need to go. Now." As they rose from the crater, Jai-Ho looked back one last time at the alien city on the moon. His brother wasn't there, but now he knew where to look next. The stars awaited them, and somewhere among them was Tae-sung. Jai-Ho and Hannah returned to Earth to plan their next move. The Thunderbird needed time to recharge before attempting a longer journey. They landed at the mountain hangar and spent the night studying the images they had captured of the moon base. The transport ships leave every week, Hannah said, looking at the data. The next one is in 3 days. If we follow it, it might lead us to their main fleet. Jai-Ho nodded. The Thunderbird showed me images. The Allians have many ships gathered at the edge of our solar system. But can the Thunderbird go that far? Hannah asked. And fast enough to catch up with the transport that took your brother? Jai-Ho placed his hand on the Thunderbird's smooth surface. The craft seemed to hum in response. Yes, he said. It can go much farther and faster than we've tried so far. The neural interface showed me. The next morning, they prepared for the journey. Hannah brought more supplies, food, water, and better equipment for recording what they found. Jai-Ho spent hours connected to the Thunderbird, learning more about its systems. The Thunderbird knows the aliens. Jai-Ho told Hannah. It was designed to track them, to fight them if needed. Hannah looked surprised. Your grandfather built this to fight aliens. Not exactly, Jai-Ho explained. The technology came from a crashed ship, but not an alien ship. Something else, something that hunted aliens. 3 days later, they were ready. The Thunderbird rose from Earth once more, quickly breaking through the atmosphere. This time, they didn't head toward the moon. Instead, they flew toward the outer planets, following the energy trail left by the transport ships. The trail gets stronger, Jai-Ho said, as they passed Mars. We're getting closer to something big. Hours later, they reached the edge of the solar system. Here, beyond the orbit of Pluto, space seemed empty. But the Thunderbird sensors showed Jai-Ho the truth. Many ships waited here, hidden from Earth's telescopes. There they are, Jai-Ho said, pointing. Hannah gasped as the Thunderbird's cloaking system let them see what was hidden. A fleet of massive ships, dozens of them, arranged in a perfect circle. At the center was the largest ship of all, nearly the size of a small moon. That's their flagship, Hannah whispered. No wonder our government never found them. They stay out here, sending only small ships to Earth. Jai-Ho guided the Thunderbird closer, staying cloaked. The fleet was busy. Small ships moved between the larger ones. Lights blinked across their surfaces. It looked like they were preparing for something. What are they doing? Hannah wondered. Jai-Ho focused the Thunderbird's sensors on the ship's activities. Images flowed into his mind. More humans being moved between ships, equipment being loaded, weapons being tested. They're preparing for something big, Jai-Ho said. It looks like an invasion. Hannah's face paled. We need to warn Earth. First, I need to find Taesung, Jai-Ho reminded her. He searched among the ships, looking for the transport that might have carried his brother. The Thunderbird sensors located it docked with the flagship. Jai-Ho felt a surge of hope. Taesung might be on that main ship. As they flew closer to the flagship, the Thunderbird provided more information to Jai-Ho. The aliens were studying humans because humans had something special, a genetic trait that made them compatible with certain technologies, like the neural interface of the Thunderbird. That's why they take us, Jai-Ho realized. We can use their technology better than they can. Hannah checked her recorder. If humans are valuable to them, maybe they're keeping Taesung and the others in good condition. Jai-Ho guided the Thunderbird toward a docking bay on the flagship. It was risky, but they needed to get inside. The Thunderbird's cloaking would hide them, but only if they were careful. Are you sure about this? Hannah asked as they approached the massive ship. Jai-Ho nodded. Taesung is in there. I can feel it. The Thunderbird slipped through the energy field that protected the docking bay. Inside were rows of smaller craft and dozens of aliens moving about. Jai-Ho landed the Thunderbird behind some cargo containers where it wouldn't be noticed. Now comes the hard part, Jai-Ho said, disconnecting from the neural interface. We need to search this ship on foot. Hannah checked her recorder and pulled out a small weapon. Let's find your brother. Jai-Ho took a deep breath. They were inside the heart of the alien fleet, about to risk everything. But Tae-sung was worth any risk. "Let's go," he said. Jai-Ho and Han-na moved quietly through the alien flagship. They wore dark clothes and kept to the shadows. The ship was huge, with long hallways and strange rooms. Aliens walked past them, but Jai-Ho and Han-na stayed hidden. "How do we find Tae-sung in this place?" Han-na whispered. "It's like a city in here." Jai-Ho took out the small metal object he had found the night Tae-sung was taken. It glowed faintly now, pulsing like a heartbeat. "This will lead us to him," Jai-Ho said. "I think it's connected to Tae-sung somehow." They followed the pulse of the object through the ship. It led them down, deeper into the flagship. The hallways became quieter. Fewer aliens walked here. The walls changed from metal to a clear material that showed rooms on either side. Jai-Ho stopped suddenly. Inside the rooms were humans. Some lay on tables. Others sat in chairs with strange helmets on their heads. Aliens moved among them, watching screens and taking notes. "A research area," Han-na said softly, using her recorder to capture images. "They're studying the humans." Jai-Ho checked each room, looking for Tae-sung. The metal object pulsed faster as they moved down the hall. At the end of the hallway was a large door, with symbols that matched those on the metal object. Jai-Ho pressed the object against the door. It slid open silently. Inside was a large round room. In the center stood a machine like the one in the Thunderbird, a neural interface, but much bigger. And connected to it was Tae-sung. Jai-Ho's heart leaped. His brother sat in a chair. The machine wrapped around his head. His eyes were open but empty, seeing nothing. Screens around him showed images of Earth, the moon, the solar system. "Tae-sung." Jai-Ho ran to him. He tried to remove the neural interface, but it was locked in place. "Careful," Han-na warned. "We don't know what that machine is doing to him." A voice came from behind them. "It is mapping his mind, learning how humans think." Jai-Ho and Han-na turned quickly. An alien stood there, but different from the others. This one wore clothes like a human. His face looked more human too, though his skin was still gray and his eyes too large. "Who are you?" Jai-Ho demanded. "My name is Do-hyun," the alien said in perfect Korean. "I was human once, like your brother." Jai-Ho stared in shock. "You were human. How?" "The aliens changed some of us," Do-hyun explained. "They make us like them, so we can help them understand humans better." Han-na raised her weapon. "Are you going to stop us?" Do-hyun looked at the weapon, then at Tae-sung. "I should. That is my job. But," he hesitated, "I was taken many years ago, but I still remember my home, my family." Jai-Ho stepped toward him. "Help us. Help me free my brother." Alarms suddenly blared through the ship. Red lights flashed in the hallway. "They know you're here," Do-hyun said. "You need to leave now." "Not without Tae-sung," Jai-Ho insisted. Do-hyun walked to the controls of the neural interface. He pressed buttons and turned dials. The machine released Tae-sung, who slumped forward. Jai-Ho caught his brother. Tae-sung's eyes focused slowly. "Jai-Ho, is that really you?" "Yes, it's me. I came to take you home." Han-na was at the door, looking out. "We have company. Many aliens coming this way." Do-hyun pressed something into Jai-Ho's hand, a small crystal key. "This will open all doors in the ship. Take the lift at the end of the next hall. It leads to the holding area where more humans are kept. Free them if you can." "Come with us," Jai-Ho said. Do-hyun shook his head sadly. "I cannot return to Earth now. I am too changed. But I can give you time to escape." He pressed a button on the wall. The hidden door opened on the far side of the room. "This way leads back toward your ship. Go now." Jai-Ho helped Tae-sung stand. His brother was weak, but could walk. "Thank you," Jai-Ho said to Do-hyun. The part human nodded. When you reach the holding area, use the crystal to open all cells at once. The controls are at the center station. As Jai-Ho, Tae-sung, and Han-na hurried through the hidden door, Do-hyun called after them. The aliens fear the Thunderbird. It comes from their ancient enemy. Be careful using it. The door closed behind them. They could hear Do-hyun speaking to the arriving aliens, making excuses for the open door and missing prisoner. "Let's move," Han-na said. "We need to free the others and get back to the Thunderbird." Jai-Ho put his arm around Tae-sung. After weeks of searching, he had found his brother. Now they just had to escape the heart of the alien fleet. Alarms rang throughout the alien flagship as Jai-Ho, Tae-sung, and Han-na raced through the corridors. They found the lift that Do-hyun had mentioned and rode it down to the holding area. The holding area was a large room with glass cells lining the walls. Inside each cell were humans, men, women, and even some children. They sat quietly, their eyes empty, waiting to be studied or changed. "There must be hundreds," Han-na whispered, recording everything with her device. Jai-Ho spotted the control station in the center of the room. He rushed to it and inserted the crystal key Do-hyun had given him. Lights flashed across the controls. Jai-Ho pressed the largest button, hoping it would work. All at once, the glass doors slid open. The humans inside didn't move at first, still under the effect of alien drugs. "Everyone," Ta-sung called out, his voice growing stronger. "We're here to rescue you. Follow us to the ship." Slowly, the humans began to stand. Their eyes cleared as they realized what was happening. A girl about 10 years old was the first to run from her cell. Others followed. "This way." Jai-Ho pointed to a wide corridor that the Thunderbird had shown him led to the docking bay. They moved as quickly as they could with the weakened humans. Han-na led the way, while Jai-Ho helped Ta-sung in the middle. Some stronger humans helped others who could barely walk. Behind them, they heard the heavy footsteps of alien guards. They were coming. "Hurry," Jai-Ho urged the group. They reached the docking bay just as alien guards appeared at the far end of the corridor. Han-na fired her weapon, not to hit them but to slow them down. The humans rushed into the docking bay where the Thunderbird waited, still hidden behind cargo containers. Jai-Ho ran to the Thunderbird and placed his hand on its surface. The craft became visible, its smooth metal glowing softly. The rescued humans gasped at the sight. "Everyone inside," Jai-Ho called. The Thunderbird seemed to understand the need. Its body stretched and expanded, creating more space inside than should have been possible. Han-na directed the humans in while Jai-Ho connected to the neural interface. Alien guards poured into the docking bay, firing strange weapons that made the air ripple. The Thunderbird's shields blocked the shots, but Jai-Ho could feel the craft's power draining. "We can't take everyone," Han-na said. "There were too many humans, and more still arriving from the holding area." "Yes, we can," Jai-Ho said firmly. He connected more deeply to the Thunderbird than ever before. The craft's knowledge flowed into him, showing him abilities he hadn't known existed. The Thunderbird could become more than a ship. It could become a beacon. As the last human squeezed inside, the Thunderbird lifted off. Its shields glowed brightly, deflecting alien weapons. Jai-Ho guided it out of the docking bay and into open space. Immediately, smaller alien ships gave chase. The flagship turned slowly to follow. "We'll never outrun them all," Han-na said, looking at the screens. "We don't need to," Jai-Ho replied. Through the neural interface, he told the Thunderbird what to do. The craft's surface changed, patterns of light flowing across it. It wasn't just a ship anymore. It was sending a signal, a call for help to the stars. "What's happening?" Ta-sung asked, watching the lights. "The Thunderbird is calling its makers," Jai-Ho explained. "The ones who built the technology our grandfather found. The enemies of the aliens." The alien ships were closing in when suddenly space itself seemed to tear open ahead of them. A hole appeared in the blackness, glowing with blue light. And through this hole came ships, dozens of them. sleek and bird-like, similar to the Thunderbird but much larger. The alien ships froze, then scattered in panic. The flagship turned away, preparing to flee. "They're afraid," Hannah said in wonder. "The Thunderbird was a scout," Jai-Ho said, understanding now. "Sent to find the aliens, and we just activated its beacon." The new ships surrounded the Thunderbird, protecting it. One of them sent a message directly into Jai-Ho's mind through the neural interface. "Well done, human. We have been searching for the aliens for centuries. Now we have found them, thanks to you." As they turned back toward Earth, escorted by their new allies, Jai-Ho felt Tae-sung's hand on his shoulder. "You came for me," Tae-sung said softly. "You found me among the stars." Jai-Ho smiled. "I would have searched forever. That's what brothers do." Behind them, the alien fleet scattered across space, fleeing the ancient enemy they had feared for so long. And beside them flew the ships of humanity's new allies, ready to help defend Earth against any who would harm it. The Thunderbird flew home, carrying Jai-Ho, Tae-sung, Hannah, and dozens of rescued humans. Proof that when aliens took a human's brother, one determined man with the last Thunderbird could change the fate of two civilizations.